Assalamu alaikum and warm welcome to all of you. Today's WebCon, Rising Tech Trends of 2030, What's Next for Pakistan and AI and Machine Learning. I am Nurul Nawal, Senior Officer at ICMA Center of Excellence, and it's an honor to be your host today. Today's WebCon brings together visionary leaders who will shed light on critical areas like cybersecurity, economic transformation, and ethical challenges that come with rapid advancements. As Steve Jobs once said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Pakistan is poised to lead if we rise to the occasion. This event is scheduled from 3 to 5 p.m. and I'm excited to announce that all attendees who stay until the end will receive an e-certificate as a token of appreciation. I will request all participants to share the details via email to the issuance of e-certificate. The email address is provided in the chat box. Here's the agenda for today. We are going to start with the recitation of Holy Quran. Then, to honor our country, we have a national anthem. We would like to introduce Ms. Samreen Oman Ansari as an inaugural speech. She is Director ICMA Center of Excellence. Then we have three lineup of speakers. Our first speaker will be Mr. Shaukat Ali Khan. He is Global Chief Information Officer, Aga Khan University. He will discuss on AI-driven economic transformation in Pakistan, examining the economic impact of AI and machine learning on Pakistan's industries and workforce. Our second speaker will be Mr. Hussein Hassanali. He is Managing Partner and Principal Consultant in Strategy Consulting. He will be sharing his thoughts on AI ethics and data privacy, navigating challenges in Pakistan's regulatory framework to protect citizens' data and ensure responsible AI use. Then our last speaker will be Mr. Javed Yousuf, Chief Executive Officer NIFT. He will be sharing his thoughts on AI and cybersecurity, strengthening Pakistan's digital defense, exploring AI-based cybersecurity solutions to protect digital infrastructure and combat cyber threats. Then we have question answer session and concluding remarks by Executive Director ICMA Center of Excellence, Mr. Amar Ajaz Khan Sahab. To begin the session, please note, let's start with a recitation of Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
As we gather today for this special WebCon, let's take a moment to mark our patriotism and express our love for our country. In respect of national anthem, I invite you all to join me in honoring our beloved nation.
Tu nishane
We are now privileged to have Ms. Sabrina Oman Ansari, our Director, ICMA Center of Excellence, to deliver the inaugural speech. Ms. Sabrina is a visionary leader steering the Center of Excellence towards fostering knowledge and innovation. Ms. Sabrina is an experienced professional, a certified Six Sigma Black Belt, and a certified human resource professional. She has worked extensively in quality management, business process re-engineering, continuous process improvement, and strategic management. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nawal. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the exciting webinar on Rising Tech Trends of 2030. It's an honor to have such a diverse, distinguished audience today and speakers to join us to discuss the topic shaping our future. I thank my team who organized this event and the speakers and participants for their time and contribution. The pace at which technology is evolving is extraordinary. These trends are no longer distant dreams, but they are becoming reality. This conference is our chance to explore their potential, convert them into opportunities for us, and make this nation proud. Globally, AI and machine learning are revolutionizing the industries. Countries investing in these technologies are actually defining their tomorrow into economic and social landscapes. Pakistan, with its growing youth population and untapped potential, needs a lot of collaboration from different organizations within Pakistan and from outside Pakistan. I would like to mention the key highlights, the key areas that we are going to focus on in this WebCon. The first one is the AI and cybersecurity, securing digital transformation. The second is the AI-driven economic growth. We are going to talk about the opportunities in various sectors, including IT, ethical considerations, data privacy, and responsible use of AI. Consider this more than a discussion. It's about shaping a vision for tech-enabled Pakistan. The insights shared today will guide all of us, including policymakers, innovators, students, businessmen who've joined us today in many ways. Let's focus on how can we turn challenges into opportunities and foster collaboration across sectors in Pakistan. I encourage everyone today, whether you are an expert or a student or a policymaker, to think about how can we contribute to the development and this transformation in Pakistan. Today is the first step in bridging the gap between the potential and the execution. While the future is uncertain, one thing is clear: technology will be defining factors for the progress, and I'm confident Pakistan can emerge as a leader in this digital era. Let's begin this conference, and I wish all the speakers and the participants an engaging, thought-provoking experience. Let's shape the future of Pakistan together. Thank you so very much for joining us today. Thank you, Nawal. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insights. Our first speaker of the day is Mr. Shaukat Ali Khan, the Global Chief Information Officer at Aga Khan University. He will be sharing his expertise on AI economic transformation in Pakistan. AI and machine learning are reshaping industries and creating new opportunities globally. Let's explore how these technologies can catalyze economic growth and transform Pakistan's industries and workforce. Shaukat sir, please share your thoughts.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, thank you very much, ICMA Pakistan, for giving me this opportunity. And in the next 20 minutes, I will try to I'm sure everybody understands this amazing which AI has been there for many years, but the emergence and then the generative AI and all those new factors and opportunities coming. So I think let's continue learning from each other and then see how it goes. So Nawal, are you going to share the screen?
You can share your screen, sir.
I'm not able to share this as this will stop other screens. Okay. Please let me know when you will see that my screen is. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's all clear.
perfect. Yeah. So first thing I wanted to remind everyone about the global trend. So you can see from the Gartner hype cycle, the generative AI actually passed its hype, and then it's going a little bit down. But I think a couple of years ago we were discussing about the artificial intelligence, and then now look at the hype cycle. There are so many different parts and different levels of artificial intelligence. Gen AI, there are composite AI, artificial general intelligence, and then there are so many things. So you can see that some of those AI parts are actually picking their hype, and then some of them are actually have passed and then going to the next level. All in all, what I wanted to actually share here is that in the technological domain, there is a heavy dominance of AI in all the technologies we are talking from last many years. And if we can just relate and translate that to Pakistan, then we will just see the opportunity. And this is, of course, we have just I requested my team to do some research about the opportunities on this in Pakistan only, and this goes beyond Pakistan, and the entire world is actually looking and evaluating and researching about the opportunities on the AI part of it. So I think within our country, we can see that 69 million new jobs to be created by 2027, projected year for positive economic contribution. So every single area you can see AI is touching, whether we do education, health, economy, agriculture, financing, you can just name it, each and every parts it's touching, and it has an enormous impact in what we are doing. So I think if we can translate that into the opportunity, AI is also giving us the opportunity that it resets across the board. So if we have an initiative which we do in Pakistan, which works for us, that is equally applicable to anywhere in the world as well. So I think the thinking and coming with solutions local and then sharing this global is a real motto at the moment, where we can not only benefit our country, but we can also benefit the entire country. And then look at the overall potential in dollars, potential addition to Pakistan economy by 2030 through automation. And this goes actually in all the sectors, and this data is coming from different research, international research, local research conducted in the last couple of years. And but I think what is required here is that this is the potential, but are we ready to get that potential? I think that's where the question is all about. The potential is there in every institution, and I will share with you about what we are doing as an institution at Aga Khan in this domain. And then many institutions, they are working on this. Are we ready with this potential to get there? And then there are some basics around benefiting this potential. So at the moment, from the government level, there are a couple of initiatives. There is a draft national AI policy by Center for Aerospace and Security Studies. There is a national task force on artificial intelligence as well. They are working, they are trying to understand what is happening around the world, what are the best practices. But I think what is required here is that having some tangible next steps on okay, who should be in that task force, how this should work, and how we can benefit with the international expertise. Last December last year, the then Prime Minister visited Al Khan University, and then I gave a couple of suggestions. And first suggestion was to forming a AI council consists of not only the experts in Pakistan, but also from the government and also from the international community, because this is a technology where you need collaboration, where you need best practices, where you need an international best practices which work in other areas, can be leveraged in our country as well. So I think and then from the sectorial opportunities, you can see in the credit scoring, fraud detection, and virtual assistance. These things are already happening. When we talk to our banks, they are already using AI into their day-to-day work in the fraud detection mechanisms, their credit sourcing. Because what happens is that if we can have the right algorithms within our systems, then it can detect what is generally difficult and can be a near miss situation for a human eye. What I am not saying is that this is not replacing the human part. What is important is that the humans are going to benefit these technologies. I think the future is for those who have the right understanding and skills on using these technologies. Whatever field you are, most of you here are the financial experts, financial leaders from all over the world. I think what is important, and I'm sure you agree with me, that if we really want to excel in our careers, in our institutions, then we need to know these technologies. We need to understand the benefit and leverage these technologies. And within the agriculture part of it, digitizing the entire agri part, and then getting the data about what happens on a seed level and on each farm level. Now institutions are actually rolling out these AI tools to detect the situation, to monitor the entire supply cycle for it. So I think the important part here is that these tools and technologies are not only giving us the efficiency, they are directly translating into economy in scale. And these are some of these examples where we are some institutions are actually have already started, but the benefits and the potential is so much that this can be expanded on a significantly high level as well. And some of the healthcare opportunities which are already discussed, and some of them are already implemented within the context of Pakistan. You can see the diagnosis part of it, how AI is benefiting the diagnosis, on bringing different type of trendings based on the data. It's also actually topping up the decision support for all our clinical colleagues with regards to the treatments, with regards to the diagnosis part of it. But I think the prerequisite of this is like a very small portion compared to the potential we have within the country. I think the bottom line here is that to benefit AI, we have some prerequisites. We have to have the right infrastructure to get the right data, right? For the healthcare part of it, I think what is important is that most of the data is available in the government hospitals, because most of our population go and get their treatments from those. Some fortunate ones, they go to private hospitals. But I think what is important from the government level, and many of you are driving and influencing on policy level, what is important is that on a government level, if we have the electronic patient record or electronic health record system available and connected, then we will benefit that data, and then bring AI into optimizing and getting all those different type of alerts for individual patient level, and also benefiting the consultants or the clinical colleagues on treating and diagnosing those patients. But I think the prerequisite there is that the data should be there, and there should be a mechanism and infrastructure to get that data. These are some of the examples on a smaller scale, what is actually showing that there is a huge potential and benefits in using these parts of it. And I can just I just want you to listen to what's happening in this.
Last year at Google I/O, we announced Google AI. It's a collection of our teams and efforts to bring the benefits of AI to everyone. And we want this to work globally, so we are opening AI centers around the world. AI is going to impact many, many fields. And I want to give you a couple of examples today. Healthcare is one of the most important fields AI is going to transform. Last year, we announced our work on diabetic retinopathy, which is a leading cause of blindness, and we use deep learning to help doctors diagnose it earlier. And we've been running field trials since then at Aravind and Sankara hospitals in India, and the field trials are going really well. We are bringing expert diagnosis to places where trained doctors are scarce. It turned out, using the same retinal scans, there were things which humans quite didn't know to look for, but our AI systems offered more insights. Your same eye scan turns out holds information with which we can predict the 5-year risk of you having an adverse cardiovascular event, heart attack or strokes. So to me, the interesting thing is that, more than what doctors could find in these eye scans, the machine learning systems offered newer insights. This could be the basis for a new non-invasive way to detect cardiovascular risk. And we are working, we just published the research, and we are going to be working to bring this to field trials with our partners. Another area where AI can help is to actually help doctors predict medical events. Turns out doctors have a lot of difficult decisions to make, and for them, getting advance notice, say 24 to 48 hours before a patient is likely to get very sick, has a tremendous difference in the outcome. And so we put our machine learning systems to work. We've been working with our partners using de-identified medical records. And it turns out if you go and analyze over 100,000 data points per patient, more than any single doctor could analyze, we can actually quantitatively predict the chance of readmission 24 to 48 hours before, earlier than traditional methods. It gives doctors more time to act. We are publishing our paper on this later today, and we are looking forward to partnering with hospitals and medical institutions.
Yeah, so you can see that where the world is going. The interesting part here is that after this speak from the CEO of Google, AKU Khan University, we partner with actually Google Health. We are already working on some of these language models in East Africa, because we have heavily invested in electronic health records now, a multi-continental project where we have invested in actually standardizing the data, polishing the data, managing the data, and then having the end-to-end digitalization across the board. So we are already working, and then what these international players are looking for is that they have all these AI algorithms based on the North American, European model. What they are looking for is that low middle income countries, their standard data, their structured, polished data is needed to represent these algorithms. And these algorithms will only work not only with the representative data, but also representative coders as well, so that they can understand the ethnic and the cultural context into it. So you can see the digital decision intelligence creating more value with AI in regards to decision support, decision augmentation, and in the use of machine learnings. And what we have been hearing about digital health, and now it's more on the intelligent health part of it, where every single part is moving from data to insights to wisdom, and for that we need to have the right data collection mechanism, data management mechanism, and data usage mechanism. Within the Aga Khan University context, we are at the moment supporting as an IT team, we are supporting around 400 locations. As many of you know that we are operating in 6 countries: Pakistan, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Afghanistan, and United Kingdom. We have 7 hospitals, 5 university operations. And in addition to our own Aga Khan University part, we are also supporting the Aga Khan health services, and together with health services in Aga Khan University, we we treat around 14 million patients, and for that we need to have all these technological means. And as I mentioned, that we have heavily invested in rolling out an electronic health record, which has already been implemented in Kenya and 50 outreach centers in East Africa. And as we speak, we are implementing that in Pakistan. What this also translates is that the use of emerging technology, the use of AI as a built-in tool in managing the patient data, because then that gives a real-time access to all our clinical colleagues, that whenever the patients comes in, then their entire historic data is in front of them. Not only that, the trendings from that data, and then so many AI-enabled features are already available in our centers in Kenya, and that will be available in Pakistan. So what I am saying is that what we have been hearing from the technological leaders are what's happening in the global context. We are already practicing that in Pakistan, and this is something actually available for other institutions, the government in Pakistan, to collaborate with us, to work with us, to so that we can benefit and learn from each other. And advantages are immense. Actually, the biggest advantage is the digitized patient data, standardization of the quality of care and documentation, easier access, risk of loss or theft is going down, because the information security is on a different level. And then a lot of reduction in the manual handling, and what we call in the medical term near miss opportunities. These all near miss opportunities, which are very difficult to identify in a manual process, can be identified in the electronic process. And in addition, our information, the entire imaging information system, which our radiologists are using, we have implemented an ACFA PACS now actually in Pakistan and also in Kenya, which has a built-in AI tools in it, and we are using extensively those ones, which gives an additional decision support for our radiologists. That, for example, an image is in front of them, the AI tells them that based on the global data within the system, it indicates towards this part, and then this give an additional indication towards the diagnosis part of it. Remember, the decision is from the radiologist, but these are additional tools available for them. From family hifazat in Pakistan, we give access to each patient to control their data, and then now we are working on bringing a lot of these trendings which we discussed, we heard from the Google, that what type of trending, and then all these diagnoses means what in future. Those type of things we are already piloting and working in Pakistan, and around 40 operational artificial intelligence projects we are already working at the moment. And we are preparing the data to benefit our patients. That also includes that currently we are working on a project where a patient and a clinician discussion, because as many of you are aware that in Pakistan patients are coming from different places. They speak Sindhi, they speak Punjabi, they speak Brusheski, Urdu, English, many different type of languages. When they discuss with our clinical colleagues, then based on that discussion, the AI will detect, and then at the end it will summarize in English about the total discussions. So what this will help is that this will help that the clinical colleagues will not focus on manual writing these notes and all those things. They will focus on listening, and at the end they will focus on diagnosing and treating the patients. It will give them through EHR, it gives the entire history, and through these AI tools it will give them the entire documentation, so that they can focus on the actual treatment part of it. And there are around, as I mentioned, around 40 different type of type of projects, including taking assistance for physician, patient lab results, interpretation of if a patient receives their lab results, what that means based on the data. So many of these things we are already working in a prototype, and some of these things are already in our operations as well. Vehicle tracking, equipment charging automations. So these are some of those ideas which we have made as a generative AI initiative. And just in addition to that, we have already come up with a higher education AI policy. This is, I think, the first time an institution in Pakistan come up with an AI, and we did this around a year and a half ago, where the policy is available on our website with regards to higher education, what is available, what we need to do and what not. And these are all the different type of prototypes we are already working, and our teams are busy in day and night to benefit these AI initiatives. So I think this is just to give you the overall understanding of where the world is heading, but at the same time assure you that in Pakistan we have institutions who are equally equipped, equally competent to deal with these things. And just a day before yesterday, I was invited to the Pakistan High Commission in UK, where we are showing that what we are doing and what can be leveraged outside Pakistan based on our services. So I think my conclusion is that there is so much potential for us. We need the right people, right policies, right empowerment, and then the belief on our talent that we can do these things. And of course, from the government point of view, right environment to enable all these talented people so that we can benefit these technologies. Thank you very much once again for listening to this, and I will be happy to answer if you have any question.
Thank you so very much, Shaukat Saab. Since you'll be leaving us early, actually, I had a question I wanted to ask you right away. Otherwise, I might not have the chance to ask you with this good audience that is sitting right here with us. AKU is using AI tools globally for decision support. How quickly can this be transmitted to the rest of the healthcare in Pakistan? I mean, is AKU planning to engage into some kind of philanthropic activity wherein they are going to tutor other medical care, healthcare centers in Pakistan to become as good as they are in AI tools?
Yeah, so it's a very good question, Sumrin. I think what I would suggest is that, and this is something we have been communicating, that we are there in Pakistan, right? We are in Karachi. We are in around 126 cities in Pakistan where we operate. I think what we can do is that we are already engaging with a lot of healthcare about sharing our best practices, learning from them. During COVID, actually, we trained around 10,000 physicians across Pakistan. We have a daily ICU, which is already 24/7 available for other physicians. So all these emerging technologies are also available for institutions to work with us. We can learn from them, and then of course they are because we are based there, so they can come and visit on a regular basis. We receive delegations, we receive institutions where we show them that how we are approaching, what are our policies, how we design these user requirements, how we develop these requirements. So I think it's a matter of collaborating and having a right mechanism to collaborate. But from the Aga Khan University point of view, at the moment as we speak, our university is supporting the government of Pakistan in building one of the hospitals in Islamabad, Jinnah Medical Complex, where we are providing medical advisory, and we are engaged with a couple of other forums. But of course, from the technology point of view, we are open for any and all type of collaborations.
Wonderful, Shaukat Saab. It's a very good thing, and I believe that other healthcare units should also connect with you, and there must be a process that you've already designed to connect with these institutions throughout the country. I'm really thankful for you to join us today, and I hope that you're going to stay with us for the rest of the time, and as and when we would require, you will be connected with us on audio. I heard that.
Yes.
Thank you so
I will
very
be
much. I'm
driving.
so obliged
Thank you
that
so
you were
much.
part of this event, sir.
Thank you.
You.
Have a very nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shaukat Saab, for your thought-provoking session. Dear participants, as a reminder, if anyone has any question, please feel free to submit them in the chat box, and we will read aloud during the question and answer session for the speakers to address. Our second speaker is Mr. Hussein Hassanali, Managing Partner and Principal Consultant at Strategy Consulting. He will discuss AI ethics and data privacy, navigating challenges in Pakistan. As AI becomes most embedded in our lives, ethical concerns and data privacy challenges take center stage. Mr. Hussain Sahab will shed light on the regulatory frameworks needed to ensure responsible AI usage in Pakistan. Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Welcome, Aslam, sir.
So it's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Samreen, Nawal, and ICMA for inviting me. We really enjoyed an excellent talk by Shaukat bhai. Nawal, Noor, will you be sharing my slides, or shall I
Sure, sir.
do that? All right. So AI ethics and data privacy. Now, so and some highlights about myself, but what I'd like to highlight over here is, at the ISACA, the Karachi chapter, we established that in 96, 97, and it's been going on. So ISACA has been working a lot in these spaces, the technology spaces, and there is a lot that is happening globally also. What we need to do is wake up, smell the coffee, see where things are going. And ICMA has taken a great step today. This session enables us to come together to try and understand what is happening on this front. As most of you may know, Pakistan has a national policy. And Noor, can you just change the slide, please? So Pakistan has a national AI policy that was drafted, it was set up, it is up for discussion, but it has not been, it's still in the draft stage. And there have been a lot of debates about what it is and how it is and where it's going. So we will need to, I would urge you all to go and read that policy. I will be focusing on some parts of that policy today, but also what does it actually mean? For a lot of people, AI means different things. What does data privacy mean? It means different things. So first of all, let's set our understanding correct. So AI ethics, and we are coming to ethics because artificial intelligence, Shaukat bhai has already covered. AI ethics refers to a set of moral principles and practices that guide the development and deployment and use of artificial intelligence systems. So moral principles and practices. If you look at all of us, so we have the natural intelligence, and the artificial intelligence is modeled essentially on the natural intelligence. And when we look at ourselves, do we find two people thinking in the same way, behaving in the same way? Even though they may have the same religion, they have very different beliefs. The way they behave is very different, right? So ethics, again, becomes extremely important because of what we are seeing AI start to do. And that is, it is starting to absorb and use unfortunately, the discrimination, the unethical practices that human beings have. हम सब कहते हैं ना कि अल्लाह देखता है. Everyone knows that. How many people do just the right thing? सही और गलत में भी हमें फर्क पता है. How many of us are always doing the right thing, making the right choices, right? So let's not go too much into that, but this is where AI also is, has been caught, that it has been discriminating. And so there is a need to govern it. There's a need to ensure that it has the right ethics, and these are built into it. So AI ethics aims to ensure that AI technologies are designed and used in ways that are fair, accountable, transparent, and respectful of privacy. Right? So extremely important that are fair, accountable, and respectful of privacy. So what does fairness mean? It means that AI systems should not be discriminating against individuals or groups, and based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, or socioeconomic status. And this is exactly what AI has been seen to do, discriminating against people who are not non-whites in the US. Now, we see these things start to happen in those places where there is a wide range of activities happening in AI, right? So bias mitigation, extremely important, that AI algorithms which have absorbed these biases, now these need to be identified and reduced, addressed over there in the algorithms, in the data sets. Equal treatment, it has to provide equal treatment for all users, and that is another thing that people, developers need to focus on to ensure that AI systems are addressing that. Accountability, holding individuals and organizations responsible for the outcomes of the systems that they are using, the AI systems. And this is one area that we see students in universities are using AI, and all of us who have done any sort of work have now started using ChatGPT, have used Copilot, have used other Gemini and other systems, Perplexity, right? So all are using these to help ourselves. But where it is being used to do all of the research, all of the work, develop all of the thesis, that doesn't allow the university to assess the student's capability, which is what it needs to do. Responsibility, clearly defining who is responsible for decisions made by AI systems. It's not enough just to develop the system and let it go. Now someone needs to ensure that it is doing the right decisions. Redress, what happens if a harm is caused by a system, by an AI system? For human beings, we have all of the penalties, all of the rules and regulations, the legal practices. Need to consider that over here. So what are the avenues for appeal and correction? Transparency, making operations and decisions of AI systems understandable to the users, stakeholders. It's not something that is happening in a black box. It needs to be understood. People should be able to assess it, to review what are the decisions that are being taken and determine whether those are appropriate, how those decisions are being taken, what is the basis. That means that you need to have AI decisions being explained, right? Explained to non-experts, not only the technical guys. You need the non-experts to be able to understand this and evaluate those decisions. Openness, essentially about how these systems are developed, how they are trained. AI is all about training, how the systems are trained to be able to take those decisions and how they are set up. And privacy. Privacy is such an important thing in most countries, and especially in the West, where they value their data, where they value their information, their personal information. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, we don't realize that. We have not got to that stage as yet. So protection of that has not started happening as yet. But that needs to happen and happen fast. So data protection, most of us have heard of GDPR. We have heard of the requirements that citizens of the European Union, their data needs to be protected, and organizations that access that data are required to demonstrate they have protected it. What happens for Pakistani citizens, right? There's no such requirement as yet. Consent, ensuring that the data that you have is used by AI systems also after you getting consent, after getting permission to use it. A lot of our information is used without getting permission. So some of the ethical considerations that we need: trust and acceptance, building trust. Ethical AI's practices will help, build trust amongst users, stakeholders, and the public. This is very, very important, because if people lose trust in these systems, if there are unethical practices that are not addressed, we will stop using these systems. Confidence for users will come when this trust comes forward, right? They can see the trust and they can see that people are able to use these systems, these technologies, especially all emerging technologies, without being compromised. Preventing harm, so important. We've seen so many of such doom stories in the movies also, where AI goes crazy and starts to attack human beings. So that can happen if there is no control. One thing that's very important to remember, while AI may act, artificial intelligence and the robots and other systems may act like human beings, may behave like human beings. The important thing to remember is they are working on the basis of an analysis, a data analysis of some calculation. There is an algorithm that is at work. Human beings work on the basis of emotions. AI doesn't have emotions. And so that's a very, very, very important thing to remember when we are using these systems and how we put forward how these systems are developed, what is done with them. So protecting vulnerable groups, because AI systems will not be differentiating. So we need to ensure that they are built in that way, they're designed in that way, that they protect vulnerable or marginalized groups. Regulatory compliance, extremely important, because Pakistan, as I said, we have a draft law coming up, but other countries have that already. But even if that's not the case, we need to be designing our systems in that way to ensure that these regulations are being respected. Proactive measures need to be there to avoid future compliance issues. So developers need to build in those practices. We have enough regulations in different countries that we can benchmark against, we can use. Social responsibility. This cannot be emphasized anymore because it's such an important thing. So AI systems have to be able to contribute and seem to contribute positively to society. And they should not be promoting inequalities. And then ethical leadership, of course, so how organizations work, and those that are demonstrating good standards are able to promote themselves and be recognized as such. The national AI policy of Pakistan, and there's a lot, and I didn't want to go into too much negative about it. I'll highlight a couple of things, but first of all, let's see the 4 pillars. There are 4 pillars over here. AI market enablement. Yeah, so they are talking of establishing a National Artificial Intelligence Fund and centers of excellence for AI. This is to promote AI market enablement. Social development. And this is where AI can be used for national initiatives to enable social development. We are a third world, a developing country. There is a lot of need for social development, a lot of people who are in the lower category. Ethical AI, responsible ethical use, just we've been discussing what that entails. So there should be transparency, accountability for those decisions that are being taken, and fairness, equality. Regulatory framework. So these regulations have to be developed and they need to support, right? And they need to go through that. So again, coming back to that fact that requirements are clearly laid out for responsible, ethical, and safe development, deployment, and use of AI. Genu. So let's now look at what is data privacy and a little bit more focus on that. So that's the practice of ensuring that personal or sensitive information is collected, stored, and handled in a way that protects it from unauthorized access, misuse, or disclosure. Right? So unauthorized access is such a large subject. And we need to understand that if in this context, in the context of data privacy, if the owner of the data, the person to whom the data relates, has not given permission, has not given consent, then it is unauthorized. Anyone accessing it without consent is accessing it in an unauthorized manner. So need to implement the consent aspect, getting the consent for that data, access control, who, how, why, when, where this data can be accessed, ensuring data security. Security entails maintaining confidentiality, ensuring integrity, that it is not changed without permission, and its availability, that it remains available when needed, and transparency, how it is used, what is happening with it, how it is maintained, and data minimization. You take only that much data, you retain only that much data that is required, not excessive data. You don't need all the data about a person. So personal data is about the person's name, the CNIC number, the characteristics about the person, age, date of birth, all of that comes into personal data. The key principles of data privacy are therefore designed to protect individuals' personal information and ensure it is handled responsibly. We'll just see key principles in a little bit. So in essence, it is about respecting and safeguarding the individual's rights over their personal information. Now, this is somehow, unfortunately, an alien thought for Pakistanis, because we don't really value our data. It is available everywhere. Just check out Facebook, check out so many other platforms, and you see the data being shared so easily without any control. The key principles of data privacy, there are quite a few, but I'll just focus on a few important ones. Lawfulness, fairness, transparency. So individuals' data should be processed lawfully. Lawfully, where it is required, and absolutely in that manner for legal purposes. Fairly, taken with consent and then used in a transparent manner. The individual should know what his or her data has been taken for, what it is going to be used for. Purpose limitation. Data should be collected for specified, explicit, and legitimate purposes, and not further processed in an incompatible manner. What does this mean? So banks have the data of their customers. If the customer had given that data to open an account, they should not be approached to sell products unless they have explicitly given permission for that. Similarly, if that data is available and the people who are handling the data can take it out of the bank's system, and we see this happening at times, that someone joins one bank, their data is shared over there, the person who was handling that moves to another bank, a competitor bank, and then contacts them to take their products. And it's not just banks, it's so many other places. So just need to build that mindset for everyone, the users and the people handling the data. Data minimization should be kept adequate and relevant and limited to what is necessary, not excessive collection. Accuracy, it should be up to date, it should be correct, it should be accurate, and delete. So incorrect data should be deleted as soon as possible, either corrected or deleted. Limitation of storage should not be kept in an identifiable form. So you would have known, you would have heard that data, the banks, they go and they mask the data. They encrypt the data. They don't leave it lying around in the open. Integrity and confidentiality. So I mentioned this earlier. It's very important that it is maintained as it is, the correct form. It's not changed, and it's not changed without permission. And confidentiality, it's not shared with unauthorized people. Accountability. So organizations, they need to be able to demonstrate that they have taken care of that data. They've maintained it. Noor, can you go to the next slide? Pakistan's Personal Data Protection Act, PDPA. This is something that we've been waiting for a very long time, a very, very long time. People can put down in the chat, but those people, if our participants know, the data, this act was first floated in 2019, 18, 19, and it is 2024 now. So we've been waiting about 6 years, 5 to 6 years for that act to come out. And unfortunately, this is something we see happen so many times. We talk about it in a bit. The key provisions of this act: consent, explicit consent. And this is absolutely critical. The user should know, he should allow his data to be used and to be collected, essentially. Data breach notification. The user should be informed if his data has been lost or stolen, right? So that he can put in place some other protection. Rights of data subjects. We need to ensure, at least this regulation requires, that organizations who are using the data, who are accessing the data, they provide the rights of the data subjects. They take care of the rights of the data subject. So compliance is required to be embedded in AI solutions also for this act, for this law. And this is not just, we're talking about Pakistan, this is the practice globally. The next slide, please. So a reality check, every new technology that comes up, people jump on it, right? And we've seen this happen so many times, that it's taken up and started to use. Fortunately, in Pakistan, we get new technology for, peanuts at times. So we've seen what happens with operating systems. New versions come and they are readily available to people, and they start to use them. But very often, it's hard. Very often, people do not consider what is the potential downsides, what are the pitfalls, what are the issues or challenges that can come up. So risk management, we are not risk conscious. Risk management usually comes up as an afterthought, much, much later in the day. This is the same that has happened with AI. Lacks adequate consideration for protection of data of Pakistani citizens. We have not seen this consideration anywhere. Ensuring responsible and ethical use of AI. So we need to ensure that this is happening. But unfortunately, the thing that would have enforced this, the regulations, they lag far behind. And we've seen they are very, very often delayed. Pakistan cybersecurity policy, that initial draft had come out in 2011. And the actual policy came out in 2021, 10 years later, right? So, and this is the start. This is symptomatic of the challenges that we see, the regulatory challenges. Lack of comprehensive legislation. For a long, long time, before the Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act came up, we were using ETO, Electronic Transactions Ordinance, that was being used to prosecute, cyber crimes, and it was not adequate. It just didn't cover the requirements. PICA came in, it has been very useful, but then cybersecurity, that has advanced so much. So thank you to the cybersecurity policy. Now we are getting the certs, they are being developed, established. There's a lot more that needs to happen, but the start has taken place. And so we need to consider that this Data Protection Act and the National AI policy, which are still in draft stage, they actually lack clarity and focus. The structure of these, is a challenge. If we look at the AI policy, then You have the policy, but it does not have a strategy. Without the strategy, there is no roadmap. Without the roadmap, there is no direction. Where are we going with it? The guiding principles, the ideology, the goals, they are missing. If you look at similarly at the US AI policy, the strategy is clearly there and the direction have been set, right? So these are things missing. We are developing something which is incomplete, doesn't have the supporting infrastructure, market enablement. I'm just going to talk because I'm running out of time, but market enablement, which is the first pillar. One problem that Pakistan has is a digital infrastructure. We saw what happened when the new firewall was being tried out. How strong is our internet connectivity? Unless we are sitting in the office, we have such a disrupted connection. Countries have moved on to 5G. China is moving on to 6G. We are still struggling with 4G. And I'll park it over there. Regulatory and legislative gaps. So, these regulations that are there are very often seen as arbitrary. They are not aligned for the technology sector. And we see implementation. We have excellent laws, but implementation is zero, right? So those are not enforced. You have excellent laws for crime, street crime, driving. What do you see on the roads? Resource constraints. We need to implement robust data protection and AI governance, but that requires significant resources. I've already mentioned the digital infrastructure challenge. Skilled personnel, we don't have those, and where the demand is so much globally that the ones who are here, who are getting skilled also are getting pulled away. And funding is a challenge that faces not only the country, but also the companies that are operating. Next slide. Balancing regulation and innovation. So if the regulation is stringent, then organizations who are doing the innovation will have to stop. So we need to sustain them. We need to provide them a ground where they can, a fertile ground where they can grow and with support. We need to nurture them. Ethical considerations. So this needs to be human-centered. It has to be human-centered AI. The whole thing is set up for human beings. So human has to be at the center of that initiative. If we forget about the human, it's going to be a disaster. Public awareness and education. There needs to be a greater. So one of the pillars actually covers AI awareness and education, research and development. There needs to be more about it. There needs to be some very solid steps taken in that direction. And there needs to be a culture of compliance and accountability, ethical norms. Next slide. So my concluding remarks, to tackle these challenges, it is essential for government, industry, academic institutions, and community groups to come together and work with a unified approach, right? They have to work this way together. They can't be working in silos. They need to create well-defined and fair regulations that safeguard people's data while also encouraging innovation and growth. AI is like a juggernaut. Right? It's a massive, huge, powerful, overwhelming force. Like a storm, it will come and sweep everything out of its way. So that won't stop. We have to get updated. We have to recognize and then jump on that bandwagon and take control of it. The key is to control it at the beginning through adequate understanding, appropriate governance, and that unified approach. Thank you. Inshallah, we'll get there. Thank you, Noor, for your support.
Thank you, Sansa. Your session highlighted a powerful message that the future of Pakistan's economy depends on our ability to adapt the age of AI. Let's move to our last speaker of the day, Mr. Javed Yousuf Sahab, the Chief Executive Officer, NIFT, a pioneer in digital solutions. Javed Saab will discuss AI in cybersecurity, strengthening Pakistan's digital defense. As we advance in the digital age, the importance of AI-driven cybersecurity solutions cannot be overstated. Let's hear how Pakistan can bolster its digital information and combat cyber threats with cutting-edge technologies. Please welcome Javed Saab.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Aslam, sir.
I hope everybody can hear me loud
Yeah,
and
sir.
clear.
All clear.
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you, ICMAP, for inviting me as a speaker, uh, and the audience who are going to bear me for next 15-20 minutes. एंड सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात यह है कि दो इंडस्ट्री के एस्पायरिंग लीडर्स शौकत एंड हसनैन, इनके साथ फिर अब मैं बोलने की कोशिश करूंगा, तो आई थिंक आई विल ट्राई टू बी प्रीटी मतलब not obvious, but it is going to be less effective than those who have already given you the insight of the AI and utilization within the Pakistan. So I'll try my best to give you whatever I can within this short form of time.
Looking forward, sir.
So we can start with this. I just want to keep it very interactive. You can even ask the question right now because इसके बाद question and answer sessions हैं, but you're more than welcome to question me on this. But it's a very plain and simple type of a presentation. आप लोग मुझसे ज़्यादा learned हैं. नई generation has more thoughts, more innovation, and they have more capacity of handling the task in a मल्टीपल कहते हैं ना जो जोनिंग में काम करने का, बट आई ट्राई टू बी ब्रीफ एंड प्रिसाइज. जी, we can move to the next slide.
Sir, can you turn on your video, please?
Okay, I would love to.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. जी, I will cover about a little bit of information security, which you all people know. Again, I'll try to put my point of view about the AI in cybersecurity and solutions and technique. After that, I have a small thought on Pakistan's digital defense. I will try to chip in and try to highlight the analogy about the benefits and the challenges which AI is going to face in the cybersecurity field. I think it's a very, very basic, simple answer for information security and threat, which is very, very simple. Everybody knows that we have to protect our systems, we have to protect our data, and we have to protect unauthorized access and a potential damage. So, and it carries out, encompasses technology, processes, and practices, which helps us to defend ourselves from evolving digital risk. एक बड़ी अच्छी बात कहते हैं लोग कि half of the people know they have been breached and half of the people don't know they have been breached. So the digital footprint in the world is a very, very unique and a different connotation जिसमें आप अपने आप को protected कह ही नहीं सकते. Everybody has a level of compromise already they have done through. For example, if you are using any service, which is a software as a service, and it has been compromised, then your credentials are compromised. So no one is, I believe, left out from this. So if you see the circle of the information security, it starts from identification, protection, detection, respond, and recover. So I don't have to sell these points. These are the very, very standard. You can find it in any book. But we move forward towards the analogy. So can we move on to the next slide? I think if you can keep the first, can you go back 2 tabs? I'm sorry, if you don't mind. Thank you. when we talk about the information security practice, we have to have a strong control. We have to reduce our threat surface. And first is the predicting, and then we have to prevent, and then we have to detect, and then we have to respond. And in case if we have been damaged, then we have to recover. So I try to put it in the normal day-to-day life analogy. If you can move on to the next slide, I just try to keep it pretty simple. Its predicting is very simple. We do the weather check forecast to prepare for the rain, not in Pakistan, but everywhere in the world. Carry your umbrella is one of the factor which they propose on a day-to-day basis, especially when you go into the equator-based cities, countries like Singapore and Malaysia, then it become more important for you. In Pakistan, बहुत से एरियाज हैं जहाँ पता होता है, लेकिन बाकी जगहों पे हमें जैसे कराची में we don't have to worry about the rain. But this is one of the example which is very well valid. So I try to put the everyday analogy in the cyber security and cyber threats. When it comes to the preventing, it's pretty simple. You have to lock your house. You have to install your security camera at the house. If you have these, then you have a deterrent. So you have to prevent. And when it comes to the office, unfortunately, in our houses, we don't put the smoke alarms everywhere in the world where the houses are built of wood. They put the smoke alarm detecting smoke and alert for the potential fire. But हमारे यहाँ ये इतना law नहीं है. But in the other part of the world, this is mandatory. So detection is the key thing. And then you have to be available with the response. And a very simple example is the installation of the fire extinguisher, bond pads, and all these things across our facilities. घरों पे भी लोग अपने fire extinguisher अब रखते हैं. Where I live, they have mandated, which is very good, that you have to have a fire extinguisher at the home. And to recover from the threat, in case agar you have been compromised, you try to prevent, you predict, you detect, and you respond. Even then, if you have compromised, then you have to have repairing capabilities. Repairing capabilities is the key, how you have to rebuild your house. So if you put it into your IS perspective and IT perspectives, if you move on to the another slide, if you can. Yeah. So पहला आपके पता है कि जी अगर आप weather check की बात करें तो you have to have a threat intelligence. SEAM is everybody knows कि we have to implement this. Similarly, preventing में अगर हम जाते हैं तो you have to have a protection endpoint, access control system, privilege access management, and then you have to have firewalls, access control list, intrusion, next generation firewall, perimeter firewall. You have to have a multiple roadblocks for preventing it. And one size fit for all kahin nahi hota. You have to go for the different stroke for the different folks. Similarly, when it comes to the detecting, you have to have a standard detecting, and detecting के दो factors हो चुके हैं. इसमें एक miss हो रहा है जिसमें मैं कहूँ WAF. WAF is very important component which comes under this, क्योंकि जब intrusion detection है वो network layer पे detect करता है, लेकिन when it comes to the internal application layer, then web application firewall is one of the very good tool which provides you the information that the guy who's coming is clean or not. So this is one of the threat which I feel is missing out of the list. And respond to the threat. Again, you have a SOAR, you have to orchestrate, you have to have a backup, you have to have a recovery system, you have to have RPO, RTO. मुझे कहने की जरूरत नहीं, everybody knows about this. And recovering, अब जब आग लग चुकी होती है, so you have to come up as a business continuity. You have to start something from other place. Then you have to implement your backups. You have to restore them and then start working from there. So these are the basic everyday life analogy and the technologies for the security. And we have to be vigilant, like what we are for our day-to-day life, because digital is now similar, like we are having our own normal life. So you have to be ready with all these things, not up to the level where I'm saying about the technologies, but you have to be careful while you're using your own computer, while you are using your CCTV camera, while you are using your own TV, while you are using your own Wi-Fi and remote controls and IoT devices. So you have to make sure that you are predicting and doing everything. On the next slide, if we go, then how to reduce the threat surface. सबसे important You have to minimize your attack vector. The key, आपको नेटवर्क सेगमेंटेशन करनी है, आपको एक्सेस कंट्रोल लगाना है, आपको रेगुलर पैचिंग एंड अपडेट करनी है, और आपको रिडंडेंसीज को खत्म करना है. तो अगर आम दुनिया में बात करें, इफ वी थिंक इन द टुडेज वर्ल्ड एवरीडे लाइफ, सो इफ यू मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, then it gives you should keep the lock unused room of the house and don't allow anybody to access into that room. So unnecessary access should have been controlled. Very simple. Similarly, you have to divide your house into the section which are very critical for you, where the servants can come, where you can go, where you have very very critical things, जहां आपने कुछ अपने एसेट्स रखे होते हैं, जहां आपने कुछ फाइल्स रखी होती हैं, फायर प्रूफ फॉर्म में रख रहे होते हैं, उसको भी आप होल्ड करके रखते हैं, ग्राउटिंग करके रखते हैं. So you have to do the segmentation sections within your house in a day-to-day life. So this is the segmentation. And again, you cannot give the key of every room to everyone. So you have to have the right controls. Similarly, you have to make sure your walls are not cracked, because if they are cracked, then it might come and the rainwater can come, and you have to keep on maintaining your house. It is very, very simple. Similarly, you have to keep on maintaining your infrastructure from cyber securities and cyber threats. So redundancy को eliminate करने के लिए बहुत ही simple है कि आप अपना house को minimize करते हैं, जो कचरा होता है उसको बाहर निकालते हैं, declutter करते हैं, unused चीजें उनको निकाल देते हैं, ताकि ना fire हो, ना कोई कचरा है, ना कोई insects हो, ना कोई और चीज दुनिया की हो सके. Don't expose yourself by keeping the cluttered house. So you keep eliminating redundancy. So if you go into any house, you can see it is pretty well reduced the threat or not. So when it comes to our IT and IS slide, if you can move on to the another slide, then you have to have a port security, you have to have a vulnerability management tools, and you have a firewall rules has to be implemented so that you can control the minimize the attack vector. सबसे अच्छा एग्जांपल मैं देता हूं अटैक वेक्टर को कम करने का. If you have an email setup and if you have put the MFA, multi-factor authentication, which is a tokenized, जिसको हम कहते हैं OTP कहें या कुछ भी कहें, so that will help you to protect from the expansion of the surface attack vector. It is one of the best mitigation, and most part of the world have accepted it, and this is the key to implement this. Besides these firewall rules, port security, क्योंकि ये rules जो होते हैं ये network के rule होते हैं, लेकिन आपका जो सबसे बड़ा challenge है human है, और जब human जब challenge आता है, it's a moving target and it's a moving philosophy. So you have to be ready for the changes. Similarly, when it comes to the network segmentation, zero trust architecture, micro segmentation, and VLAN are the name of the game, which I don't have to tell you because those who are in the networks knows very well what I'm talking about. But at the higher level, you can say VLANs are an inter-VLAN traffic. आप virtualized local area network बना देते हैं, and then you don't allow anybody to get into this. Similarly, access control. Again, you have to give the access to the people, only the room or the lift they need. For example, if you go to the right building, if you go into the hotel, they give you the key. When you put the key, then you can press your floor. Otherwise, you are not able to move. So you need the identity management and the role-based access. And so these are the things which you can implement. Similar, regular patching. There are abundant of regular patching, scanning tool, update tools, operating system update tools, database update tools, and you have to continuously monitoring them and doing it. It's a regular program, जिसको हम security programs कहते हैं. ये सारे के सारे security programs हैं. और सबसे last and least जो नहीं है, but not the least, is the cleanup. You should not have a unused, unnecessary application or IT asset within your production environment. You declutter yourself by removing this. सिर्फ वही एप्लीकेशन इस्तेमाल करें, रखें जो आपने इस्तेमाल करनी है. हमारे यहाँ लोग एक मरतबा एप्लीकेशन डाउनलोड करते हैं, फिर इसके बाद भूल जाते हैं, और एक हमारे कल्चरल प्रॉब्लम है. So we are exposing ourselves to the threat surface. So reduce your threat surface on a day-to-day life. Till now, I'm just doing a security check. I'm not going into AI. AI is nothing but an extension for these things, to automate these things, to use the machine learning and the deep learning and the behavior, and then create the rules and suggest the rule to the people and make their life easy in technology. Like everyday life is simple. If I see the lock on the door, I know this house is locked. If lock is invisible, I might go and knock it, or I might go and push it. But if the lock is visible, so similarly, when it comes to the technologies, जब आपकी विजिबल हो जाती हैं, तो उसके बाद आपके ऊपर इंट्रूजन कम से कम होती है, अटैक कम से कम होते हैं, and people come, search around in your demilitarized zone, leave the message, touch the base, and then go away. So this is how the life is. So how you can transform this into AI-enabled cybersecurity environment? It's a big question mark, but again, I have to tell you something. Please, can you move on to the next slide? I just told you, you have to anomaly the detection through the behavioral analysis. And again, the best defense is a good offense. AI gives you the tool to stay ahead. But I think अगर कोई बंदा AI लेने के बाद ये समझता है कि मैं उनसे ahead हूँ, तो उसकी mistake है, because the people जिनका काम, जिनका bread and butter यही है, cyber incident, cyber attacks, hacking, they are at least 10 steps ahead from you. So the best part is to reduce your threat surface and keep on monitoring it and managing it. How you manage it? It's a very, very logical thing, and it's a very, very behavioral thing which you can implement. Can you move on to the next slide? Now, again, when it comes to AI, the buzzword machine learning, anomaly detection, natural language, and incident response automation. These are the big tasks, big word. Let's see what we can do in these. Can you please move on to the next slide? Everybody knows we have to, machine learning is required. We have to detect patterns and predict the threat based on the data available. Again, it's the most important thing for the machine learning. You have to have the right data. If you don't have the data, you will not be able to do this. So दुनिया में बहुत सारे tools हैं, Darktrace, Cylance, Vectra AI. They are providing you the complete database and the trend analysis, which people can use and can do the wonders. And मैं इसकी एग्जांपल ये देता हूँ कि जब हम पहले वेदर देखना होता था या फ्लाइट का देखना होता था, तो मैं फ्लाइट रेडार 24, one of my favorite app used to be in past previous years. Then I can see the planes, and then I see which aircraft is going where, and then I see my flight is going from Karachi to Lahore, and I'm in within the air, and my gate number is this, my aircraft is this, my configuration of the seat is this, and what height I'm flying right now. So everything was visible, but it has been disrupted by the Google. When I join Google search and then I say park, this Google knows that I've been into the Islamabad several times, so he first gave me the Islamabad. That's the machine learning. It has the patterns. It knows that my travel is this. For example, if I take the new phone and put it in my pocket, and from home to office I come, after 2 days, it can give me my home address and my office address based on my pattern. Because at 9 o'clock, I'm leaving one place, and 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I'm leaving another place. And from 9 to 5, most of the time I'm staying there. So it predicts that this is my office. And from 9 till morning, 5 till morning, I'm at home. So it predicts that this is his home. So 99% वो सही होता है. तो कभी भी आपको होम नहीं डालना पड़ता. अगर नए फोन्स हैं तो उसमें आपका होम ऑटोमेटिकली मैप में आ रहा होता है और ऑफिस आपका मैप में आ रहा होता है. So these are the things which can be exploited. So how quickly, how fast, how training you give, how in data you give them, the trend you give them, you can train it and can utilize it, AI, to address your prevention, prediction, and detection of the cyber threats. Similarly, you go into the anomaly detections. Any unusual behavior in the system can simply be mentioned. It can be used pattern. It can use SIEM-SOC. Now Splunk is one of them. Exabeam is there. Sumo Logic is there. Logarithm is there. QRadar is there, and everything. If you train it without machine learning, today we are having it in the SOC. But once you combine the machine learning with the anomaly detection, then you can get wonders of the world. Similarly, natural language processing, you have to analyze unstructured data. Most of the time, we have tons of data. और हमारे यहाँ एक terminology थी कि data warehouse, big data, data lake. I think we have seen all these arena and done nothing in Pakistan. I am not in a position today to know what is happening with my unstructured data and how valuable it is. It is valuable in the society where they have certain systems, organization, and systems to structure the unstructured data. But in Pakistan, abhi wo nahi hai, but there's a need. It has to be developed with the help of the consortium, even by the governments, by the regulators, and then has to pull the data specifically for this job so that you can understand the behavior, you can detect the anomaly, and then you can predict and you can control the threats. So again, SOAR is very much there, Cortex is very much there. So incident response automation is again a cycle. Today we are learning the cycle. Today we are using the SIEM-SOC, and I have more than in my office. I have a more than SOC mature for the last 1 year. But this maturity is meant for my behavior only. Unfortunately, we are not sharing this behavior in a pool. If we start sharing in the pool, then we can put it into the same system where A, B, C company, whether it's a FI, whether it's a telco, whether it's a corporate, whether it's a normal life, personnel life, whether it's we can put all the data into it and can achieve the wonders out of the technology and the techniques available under AI. Can we move on to the next slide? Now, current challenges in Pakistan, again, growing cyber threats, especially on the financial institution and government institutions. We are the one who have been affected last year. We had a complete ransomware and we have recovered from this, alhamdulillah. As a systemic risk organization, we had a BCP. We kicked in BCP in 1 day. We had a 0-day clearance only for 1 day. And we are now, mashallah, SOC 2 type 1 compliant organization working in the serving the financial institution of the Pakistan and processing almost 244 trillion rupee on an annual basis for the customers. Again, I mentioned limited cybersecurity talent pool. The scarcity of resource is given because of the tax regime, because of the pay scale. People are either doing the job for the freelance or for the companies who are outside Pakistan and saving the tax. It is their choice, but we have to do something for this. We have to create the right pool, and threat intelligence sharing framework is not there. It has to be there. We have a CERT, we have a national security program, national CERT, we have A CERT, B CERT. We have so many people who are working on the digital Pakistan. But I think there is a need of a concentric effort to create the framework. Like State Bank have created the regulatory framework of financial institutions. It is tremendous because no organization can get out of this framework and has to abide by this and to report this. Board management hoti hai. So we need to have something like this. And again, how AI can help. It is very, very obvious. We have discussed all these things. Okay, we have to have a localized data. We have to have a localized threats because most of the things are localized. Phishing, social engineering are the major threats where people get abducted, where people get affected, they get implicated. उन चीजों को हम बहुत अच्छे तरीके से कवर कर सकते हैं. So digital front has the positivity and negativity. And if we take a look at the AI can reduce and can give us a humongous step to achieve the goal which we may achieve in numbers of years, we can achieve in months. That is given. It's obvious. And if we go on to the next slide, again, it's a very simple we have to have a benefits. सबको पता है, मैंने बता दिया कि जी थ्रेट का आपको डिटेक्शन मिल जाएगी अगर आप एआई बेस्ड कोई सिस्टम बना लेते हैं, आपका एक्यूरेसी इंप्रूव होती जाएगी मशीन लर्निंग की. It is scalable for the large organization. Small organization might get impacted and reduced human error. But challenge इसमें ये है कि there is a high cost. We need the large quality data volume of a quality data, which has to be pledged by most of the organization. Not only telcos, FIs, like PSD rules in Europe, we have to have some sort of a regime and a framework available. And similarly, reliance on AI may increase our over-reliance, may increase potential risk, because जब हम बहुत ज्यादा रिलैक्स हो जाते हैं कि जी ये दरवाजा बंद है, तो उसी को खोलने के लिए दूसरी फोर्सेस आती हैं. And it's a constant battle, it's a moving target, and we have a continuous effort required in it. So अगर हम आगे ले जाएं slides को, so what's in for the students and for the professionals? देखिए जी, you have to learn more and more about AI cybersecurity. The best way is online certifications. बट हमारी स्टूडेंट कम्युनिटी से एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि हम वो काम ना करें जो डेटा एनालिटिक्स के साथ और डेटा साइंटिस्ट के साथ हमने किया है. दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा कोर्स ए और ईडीएक्स पे पाकिस्तान से लोग रजिस्टर्ड हुए थे डेटा एनालिटिक्स और डेटा साइंस के लिए. हमारे यहाँ रजिस्ट्रेशन तो बहुत हो जाती है, लेकिन रिजल्ट वो नहीं आता जो आना चाहिए. इट हैज टू टेस्ट ऑफ द पुडिंग इज इन ईटिंग. सो अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम जो बैंड वैगन वाला जो कॉन्सेप्ट है ना, उससे निकले, नीश क्रिएट करें, फोकस करें, एंड देन वी मूव ऑन टू इट. एक बंदा डेटा एनालिटिक्स पे काम कर रहा है, आज वो साइबर सिक्योरिटी पे आ जाएगा, परसों वो एआई पे चला जाएगा, परसों कहेगा मशीन लर्निंग, परसों कहेगा ये. सो प्लीज डोंट जंप अराउंड. नो, देयर इज नो शॉर्टकट टू your proficiency. You have to go through the specific academia to achieve certain things. Academia and industry का relationship बहुत जरूरी है, but academia को आप regret नहीं कर सकते, डिसबार नहीं कर सकते. Again, hackathon and challenges का जो level है, I feel this needs to be improved at the academia and industry level. More participation by the industries should be there, by the banks, by the telcos, by the corporates is required, so that the students from the universities and the business schools and the computer science schools can come out and carry out and handle these challenges. And again, I think Pakistan में collaboration जो है ना, वो एक word, I think इसकी बहुत सख्त जरूरत है. Without collaboration, nothing grows. Collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. हम कहते हैं कि मैं अक्ले कुल हूं, मुझे सब कुछ पता है. I am the sole subject matter expert. Nobody can beat me. ये we are living in the fool's world. Collaboration is the name of the game. Then you create your niche, and profitability is bound to come. It's a laggard. Similarly, my request to the professional, you start adapting AI driven tools जो आपके workplace में लोग करते हैं, उनको आप support करें, provide them the APIs so that they can work on it, invest in the training, and being a professional, like I'm advocating public private partnership, you must do this at all level so that we can have at least industry and academia relationship, and the bridge has to be gapped by the professionals. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Javed Saab, for contributing so well and speaking so practically about our professional students. Now, we are going to move on to the question answer sessions. I have a few questions. Obviously, I'm not the expert in the field. I've just learned from you distinguished speakers today, and out of which I have generated a few questions. So, agar kahin mein I'm falling short, please excuse me. अच्छा सर, पहला सवाल मेरा ये है कि हाउ कैन पाकिस्तान स्केल अप एआई एजुकेशन एट द ग्रास रूट लेवल, like introducing curricula in different universities and bringing in more students to like register for those courses. What can we do for that?
Who's going to answer it? Hussein, आप answer करें, मैं answer करूं. I'm very eager to answer, but I would give you the stage because you are senior and you are learned.
नहीं जावेद भाई, I would request आप Please go ahead.
Sir, you both can
देखिए,
add value to it,
okay,
please.
मैं आपको सिंपल सी बात बताता हूँ. Yesterday I was at the funeral at the soyam of one of my family member. हम कुछ बातें भी कर रहे थे, तो वहाँ कुछ प्रोफेशनल्स भी लोग आए, कुछ philanthropist आए. तो someone, I will not name, जैसे अखुवत है, इन्फाक है, बहुत सारी कंपनियां काम कर रही हैं कि हमने स्कूल्स अडॉप्ट किए हैं, हमने ये कर लिया, अब हम फ्रेंचाइज मॉडल बना रहे हैं. बड़ी अच्छी अच्छी बातें हो रही थी. तो मैंने कहा देखिए, दो बातें हैं इसमें. एक तो टीचर कहाँ से लाएंगे आप, और रिटेन कैसे करेंगे. ये आपका चैलेंज ऑन गोइंग है. ठीक है ना. तो सबसे पहले तो सप्लाई चेन को मैनेज करना है. पाइपलाइन मैनेजमेंट इज की, जो कि नहीं हो रही है. विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, इट हैज टू बी मैनेज्ड. Number one. Number two, if somebody thinks that by getting the physical schools, I will achieve the target of getting our people educated, तो at least I am what age I am, I believe शायद मैं जिंदा ना हूं. In theoretical term कह रहा हूं, मैं practical term कह रहा हूं कि शायद मैं जिंदा ना
Witness
हूं.
करने के
Next
लिए.
generation को educated देखकर पहला step उसमें लेते हुए. So इसका सबसे अच्छा तरीका ये है कि we have to use two-prong approach. One is a physical and other is a digital. डिजिटल को जितना अंडरमाइन हम कर रहे हैं, मैं बता रहा हूं कि दिस इज द ओनली सेवियर फॉर द कंट्री लाइक पाकिस्तान, वेयर द टाइम इज देन ऑफ एसेंस. हमें वो काम करना है 2 साल में जो 10 साल में होना है. और इसका सिर्फ एक ही तरीका है कि वी हैव अ डिजिटल एंड फिजिकल. आई यूज टू कॉल इट अ फिजिटल. वी हैव टू गो फॉर द फिजिटल मॉडल. अप्रोच करें मल्टीपल चैनल से, लेकिन सप्लाई चेन को पीछे से मैनेज करें. प्रॉपर पे दें. फिलैंथ्रोपिस्ट को गारंटी करें कि जी आप जो एक काम कर रहे हैं, जो फिजिकल काम कर रहे हैं, वो आपको आता है. डिजिटल का काम हुसैन साहब को आता है, या शौकत साहब को आता है, या समरीन साहिबा को आता है. उनको करने दें और उनको एम्पावर करें उसी लेवल पे जिस पे आप बैठे हुए हैं. तो ये जब तक हम नहीं करेंगे, वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू सी द सनलाइट. दिस इज माई टेक एंड अ वेरी हार्श टेक. आई एम सॉरी.
No, sir, we have to be blunt about, what the future holds for us. Until unless we actually affirm ourselves, it register what is going on, how can we improve? तो सबसे पहले तो प्रॉब्लम डिटेक्शन इंपॉर्टेंट है, प्रॉब्लम सोल्यूशन से पहले. सर आप कुछ कहने लगे, हुसैन साहब आपने कुछ ऐड करना है इसमें?
जी, but I'll add after Shaukat. Shaukat bhai is raised his
जी
hand.
जी, शौकत साहब, यस प्लीज.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. In my opinion, हमें ना entrepreneurship जो है inter institutional उसकी जरूरत है, क्योंकि लोग ना रिलेट कर सकें. ये जितना भी एआई क्या है, एआई के अगर हम टूल्स को हम प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग के लिए यूज करें और उनको लोग रिलेट करें, जैसे चैट जीपीटी को क्यों लोगों ने रिलेट करना शुरू किया, बिकॉज इट वाज सॉल्विंग सम ऑफ देयर प्रॉब्लम्स. तो हमें एक तो प्राइमरी सेकेंडरी लेवल पे हमने कोर्सेज के अंदर एआई एजुकेशन को लाना है, इनकॉर्पोरेट करना है. साथ साथ इंस्टीट्यूशंस में ना ये जो एआई एंटरप्रेन्योरियल जो माइंडसेट है उसको हमने इंकरेज करना है, ताकि वो एआई पे काम करे और उनको उन प्रॉब्लम्स पे काम करे जो हमारे माशरे के लिए रेलेवेंट है, ताकि लोग उन रेलेवेंट चीज़ों से फ़ायदा उठाएं और फिर उन चीज़ों को यूज़ करें. सो एंटरप्रेन्योरियल जो माइंडसेट है और उनकी जो ट्रेनिंग्स हैं उनकी बहुत ज़रूरत है. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू सर. जी हुसैन साहब.
जी जी जी. So first thing, I loved what ना जावेद भाई आपने कहा. We have the opportunity. We need to leapfrog into the future. वो जैसे आपने कहा ना कि 10 साल, तो वो हम 1 साल में वो 10 साल वाली चीज डेफिनेटली वी नीड टू गेट देयर. वी डोंट नीड टू गो थ्रू द होल कर्व. एक तो वो चीज. दूसरा ना, एकेडमी लेवल पर ना वी सी दैट यूनिवर्सिटीज एंड थिंग्स, उनके जो कोर्सेज है, अनफॉर्चुनेटली हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन, उनका जो अप्रोच है, माइंडसेट है, दैट इज स्टिल वेरी वेरी एंटिक्वेटेड. And you need to have much more of an engagement with industry. So how that needs to happen, various people have been talking about it. People like Shaukat, people like Javed bhai over here. There are others, who CIOs who are very progressive and open. They can take these things in, but you need to have that combination. Otherwise, वो एक ना distance वो चलता रहेगा, दोनों parallel tracks like the
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही है सर. पैरेलल ट्रैक्स, HEC
come
going
together.
this direction, we practical life is
हुसैन
going
भाई,
this way.
हुसैन
जी
भाई,
सर.
आप कितनी कॉलेजेस के एकेडमिया के बोर्ड पे आप हैं, मुझे बताएं. शौकत साहब, आप कितनी कॉलेजेस के बोर्ड पे हैं पाकिस्तान में? मैं कितनी कॉलेजेस के बोर्ड पे हूँ? सर, दिस वर्ल्ड इज अ टोटल डिफरेंट वर्ल्ड। इन हमारे यहाँ जो है ना, एक जो है ना ओनरशिप एंड पोजेसिवनेस, जब तक हम उससे नहीं निकलेंगे हम इसी तरह चलते रहेंगे। किस बिजनेस स्कूल
हाँ
को
हाँ
एचईसी ने रोका है कि आप एकेडमिया से बात ना करें? सॉरी, किसी स्कूल को नहीं रोका है। आई एम द वन हु हैज
हाँ
प्रोड्यूस्ड वन कोर्स व्हिच इज फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज टेक्नोलॉजी। आई हैव डिजाइन्ड इट एंड taught it in IBA. IBA have accepted this course in their alumni academia and registered this course. So contribution करने के लिए कोई मना नहीं करता है, लेकिन आई
We
थिंक
have
के
to take steps, the first steps.
हर बंदे का जो है ना वो
appetite also. And the
बिल्कुल
third
ठीक
thing
है।
is that हमारे people get lost. हमारे students also, they get lost because there's such a range of quality in that education. कुछ there are fraudsters, clearly. कुछ वो है कि ढोंगी है, वो बताते कुछ है और डिलीवर कुछ कर रहे होते हैं. And there are very few that are actually at that quality level. So some sort of thing has to be there, grading, assessment, done from another level, which qualifies and guides students to the right areas. वरना बहुत सारे लोग बेचारे अपने पैसे खोते, they are losing those resources, money, time, and time is such an invaluable resource, क्योंकि वो उसके बाद वापस उनमें हिम्मत नहीं रहती कि दोबारा कोई और कोर्स करने जाए. So
बिल्कुल
direction.
ठीक है सर।
इसमें
थैंक यू सो
एक और
मच
चीज छोटी सी
हुसैन
ऐड
सर।
करूं, सबरीन
जी
साहबा,
सर।
एक और चीज ऐड करूं कि
जी
आई
सर।
थिंक कि जितने हम इंटरव्यू करते हैं ना, मेरे से दो चीजें होती हैं। मैं कहता हूं मैं तुम्हें 2 महीने में बिग डेटा भी सिखा दूंगा, खुद पढ़ लोगे। तुम पाइथन भी सीख लोगे मेरे पास बैठ के, तुम
बिल्कुल
एसक्यूएल भी
सर।
सीख लोगे, तुम मशीन लर्निंग में भी घुस जाओगे। लेकिन मुझे बताओ कि तुम्हें क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग और प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एटीट्यूड मैं नहीं सिखा सकता। वो काम है इंस्टीट्यूट्स का। जब तक क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग एंड प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एटीट्यूड के साथ बंदा नहीं आता, वो रन ऑन अ बिल, एक विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, एक मुझे गधा मिल जाता है जिसपे मैं सामान रखता हूँ, एक दुकान से दूसरी दुकान तक ले जाता हूँ, या मैं उसको खच्चर कह सकता हूँ, सॉरी टू से दिस, बट दिस इज हैपनिंग।
वेरी
I
ट्रू
love
सर।
the
ये तो
candid.
हमारे बड़े इनिशियल बेसिक स्किल सेट्स हैं जो कि हमारे इदारों को या एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस को इंस्टिल करने चाहिए इन द स्टूडेंट्स। एंड इफ वी आर अनेबल टू डू दैट, ऑब्वियसली काम किसी भी वक्त सिखाया जा सकता है। पर्सनालिटी डेवलप करना बचपन से हम डिफरेंट इंस्टीट्यूट्स में, एजुकेशनल कॉलेजेस में, यूनिवर्सिटीज में पढ़ रहे होते हैं, तो वो तो काम उनका पर्सनालिटी डेवलप काम उनका है। लेकिन बहरहाल सर, ऑब्वियसली देयर आर नंबर ऑफ नेगेटिविटीज इन द सोसाइटी, बट वी हैव टू लिव विद देम एंड मे बी इम्प्रूव देम आल्सो। जैसे आपने काम किया, एक सब्जेक्ट बनाया और उसको इंट्रोड्यूस किया और उसको टीच किया, मतलब हेड्स ऑफ टू यू। एंड आई बिलीव दैट पीपल लाइक यू, हुसैन साहब, शौकत साहब एंड मेनी अदर्स, माशाल्लाह, वी हैव द एबिलिटी टू ब्रिंग दिस नॉलेज टू डिफरेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज। और अगर हम सब मिलकर कोशिश करें, जैसे कि आज का ये प्लेटफॉर्म है वेबकॉन का, इफ वी ऑल ट्राई टुगेदर, आई बिलीव वी आर गोइंग टू एंड अप समवेयर पॉजिटिव इंशाल्लाह ताला। अच्छा सर, मूविंग ऑन टू आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, हाउ डू यू सी AI shaping Pakistan's workforce dynamics by 2030 and how can we prepare for this transition? To start with Shaukat sir.
Jay, it's a very good question. I think there are two things here. One is we are a blessed nation because हम देखें अगर हमारी जो overall youth population है वो
जी
तकरीबन
सर।
62-63% या उससे भी ज़्यादा हमारी यूथ पॉपुलेशन है। अगर उनको हम ट्रेन करें इन AI टूल्स पे, इस नए जो जितने भी फीचर्स आ रहे हैं उस पे, तो उस पे ना सिर्फ हम अपनी चीज़ों को ऑप्टिमाइज कर सकते हैं, पर हम बहुत सारी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं दूसरे नेबरिंग नेशंस को, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं उनके पॉपुलेशन के हिसाब से। ठीक है, तो हमारे लिए मेरे ख्याल में ना 2-3 बहुत बेसिक चीज़ें हैं। एक तो हमें पॉलिसी पे काम करने की ज़रूरत है, एजुकेशन पे काम करने की ज़रूरत है, और फिर इनेबलिंग इन्वायरमेंट देने की ज़रूरत है हमारे अपने। और उसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है कि देखिए पाकिस्तान में हमारे अपने प्रॉब्लम्स बहुत ज़्यादा हैं। अभी मैं एग्री करूंगा हमारे रिस्पेक्टेड स्पीकर्स के साथ कि अगर हम चाहें इंस्टीट्यूशनल लेवल पे, अगर एक इंस्टीट्यूट का है, जिस तरह फॉर एग्जांपल AKU है, हम मैंने जिस तरह बताया कि 40 हम AI प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम कर रहे हैं, हमें किसी ने नहीं कहा, ये दिस इज आवर ओन इनिशिएटिव्स, और ये हम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं हमारे अपने प्रॉब्लम्स को, ठीक है। जब वो अपने प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेंगे, वही चीजें हम फिर दूसरों को बताएंगे, तो दूसरे वहां से सीखते हैं। तो अगर इस तरह का कल्चर हम इंस्टीट्यूशनल लेवल पे, बेसिक जितना छोटा इंस्टीट्यूशन है, जितना बड़ा है, अगर हम ये जितनी भी इंटरप्रेन्योरियल और जो इनिशिएटिव माइंडसेट के साथ हम चलेंगे, so there is so much opportunities for not only solving our own problems, not only catering our own issues, but also generating a lot of revenue through these skill sets, through these services.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a very good perspective. Javed sir.
सर आपका सवाल कैन यू रिपीट? आई एम
Sir,
मिस्ड
repeat
समवेयर.
that. How do you see AI shaping Pakistan's workforce dynamics by 2030, and how can we prepare for this transition?
मेरा तो सिंपल सा जवाब पहले मैं दे चुका हूँ. यू हैव टू स्टार्ट ऑन वॉर फुटिंग बेसिस. मेरे ख्याल में
एक साल में
पॉलिसीज
करना
तो
है, नहीं
पिछले,
काम।
मैंने देखे, मैं पॉलिसीज पिछले 10 साल से 20 से 30 साल मुझे इंडस्ट्री में हो गए. पॉलिसीज बनती हैं,
बनती
डिजिटल
रहती है।
पॉलिसी बनी है. डिजिटल 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 मुझे नहीं समझ आई कौन सी पॉलिसी बन गई पाकिस्तान की, क्या हो गया. आज तक हम वहीं पे ही हैं कि ना कोई हम यूनिकॉर्न बना सकें, ना हम कोई ऐसी चीज ला सकें, क्योंकि हम चाहते ही नहीं कि कोई हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यहाँ से ज्यादा ग्रो करे. सारे जितने भी ग्रो हो रहे हैं वो सेल्फ उस पे हो रहे हैं. आगा खान का जो सेटअप जो शौकत साहब ने बताया है, इट्स देयर ओन सेल्फ इम्प्लीकेशन, ये
initiative.
खुद कर रहे हैं
Yeah.
इनिशिएटिव्स. सो आई थिंक कि कलेक्टिव करने के लिए थोड़ा अपने अपने ईगोस को और अपने अपने फेदर्स को और अपने अपने
Side
चिप
करना
ऑन द
पड़ेगा।
शोल्डर्स को साइड में करना पड़ेगा. राइट
सही है।
सब्जेक्ट मैटर्स को बिठाना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा उनको भी पैम करना पड़ेगा, उनकी सुन के हकीकत को मानना पड़ेगा और आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा. I think AI can do the wonders provided we have a collaborative efforts led by the professional, not by the bureaucrats, not by anyone else, except the professional subject matter experts. Otherwise, we will not achieve anything and we will. हर साल हम एक क्रॉस रोड पे आते हैं. मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूं, मैं 30 साल से स्पीकर भी हूं, तो हम क्रॉस रोड पे आए थे पहले, जो है ना वो कॉल सेंटर की, आपको याद होगा. Pakistan is the best dialect in the region when you start from Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Bangladesh, India, Bahrain, दुबई, ओमान, सऊदीया. इस पूरे बेल्ट में अगर आप देखें तो डायलेक्ट जिसको है इंग्लिश का, वो हमारा सबसे बेस्ट है और हमारे पास सबसे कम कॉल सेंटर है. दो वजह: गवर्नमेंट की कमिटमेंट, रेंटेड एंड गारंटीड लाइंस नहीं थी, कुछ हम अपने लोग भी जालिम हैं, कुछ सानवी मरंदा शौक सी, ये सारे काम थे. प्लस प्लस हमारे पास वो क्वालिटी लोगों की नहीं आ सकी. आई डिड वन ऑफ द रिसर्च, मैं आपको इसका एग्जांपल देता हूं कि इंडिया में, आई एम टेकिंग द नेम, आप किसी भी बड़े शहर में चले जाएं तो वहां पे एक एक अपार्टमेंट में 5-5 लड़के लड़कियां आके रह रहे होते हैं और वो आते हैं छोटे शहरों से. उनका लेवल वही होता है जो उस शहर में पढ़ने वाले का होता है. तो बेसिक क्या हुआ कि ए लेवल और ओ लेवल और मैट्रिक पास नहीं है और गवर्नमेंट स्कूल नहीं है वहां पे. हमारे यहाँ 3 सिस्टम है, 2 नहीं है. एक है ए लेवल और एक है प्राइवेट स्कूल्स मैट्रिक के और एक है गवर्नमेंट स्कूल. बेचारा गवर्नमेंट स्कूल वाला तो बात नहीं कर सकता, उसको तो पता ही नहीं है. तो वो लोग वहां जाते हैं, दे स्टार्ट देयर लाइफ, दे स्ट्रगल, दे गेट इनटू दिस, और उन्होंने हजारों कॉल सेंटर्स बना दिए. उस बैंड वैगन को हमने मिस किया. हम बहुत बड़े लोग हैं, हमारे पास 230 मिलियन की पॉपुलेशन है, 70% हमारे पास यूथ है 30 ईयर से, सारे अनस्किल्ड हैं, 80%, 90%. वी आर फीडिंग देम ऑन आवर सैलरीज एंड वी आर फीडिंग देम ऑन आवर टैक्सेस टू देम. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू अदर एरिया, बिग डेटा, बिग डेटा, बिग डेटा, बिग डेटा, बिग डेटा, इतना बड़ा शोर मचा. आज तक मुझे पाकिस्तान में कोई बता दें ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, इंक्लूडिंग द बैंक्स, इंक्लूडिंग द टेलकोस, के मुझे ये बता दें कि मैं इस कंपनी से डेटा लेके अपनी एक प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर सकता हूं और मुझे टारगेटेड मार्केट एक एरिया में मिल जाएगी, क्योंकि हम शेयर ही नहीं करते कभी. मुझे मेल फीमेल का नहीं पता. तो हमारे यहाँ ये सारे बैंड वैगन आते हैं. अब एक आया था डेटा साइंटिस्ट और डेटा एनालिटिक्स, वो भी निकल गया. अब एक नया आया है एआई. अब दुआ करें इस बैंड वैगन पे हम चढ़ जाएं. एवरी टाइम वी कम टू द क्रॉस रोड एंड वी पास द क्रॉस रोड.
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं सर.
Sorry for my frustration. This is a forum. I would like to encourage the people, do the thing what you want to do, but in a critical thinking and problem solving attitude.
I really
Skills
like
आपको
your
सिखाई
approach,
जा
sir.
सकती हैं.
बिल्कुल. एटीट्यूड नहीं सिखाया जा सकता. I totally like the way you are actually coming up with the propositions, and we need to be this much blunt, I believe. क्योंकि सर अभी तक सिर्फ बातें ही हो रही थी, पॉलिसीज ही बन रहे थे, और जैसे अभी हुसैन साहब ने थोड़ी देर पहले कहा कि नाउ वी नीड टू वर्क ऑन द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. वो जो हमारी अभी एक नेशनल पॉलिसी, जो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की जो एक यूनिट बना है पूरा, उसके ऊपर फंडिंग भी हुई है, काम भी हो रहा है, पॉलिसीज भी बनी है, लेकिन अब तक उसको हम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की तरफ नहीं लेके जा सके. तो वी हैव टू बी अग्रेसिव नाउ. अब जो है वो बातों का टाइम खत्म हो गया, अब काम का टाइम है. तो बस एक छोटा सा सवाल हुसैन साहब आपसे करना चाहूंगी लास्ट. What policies are needed to encourage startups in Pakistan to develop AI-based solutions for local industries?
So I think it is that no supply, demand and supply, right? तो जहाँ पर opportunities है, बहुत सारे हमारे लोग ना, we are going to organizations want to go for international solutions. They want to go for international vendors. Local indigenous solutions को लोगों को हम chance नहीं देते. I have managed to do that, fortunately, my good fortune, that did it for two local vendors. They developed their solutions. Those solutions are now being sold internationally. So not only हमारे अपने organization को फायदा हुआ था, internationally भी एक brand बना, एक नाम आया. We need to encourage that. तो पहले हम अपने लोगों को opportunity दें. And there are a lot of organizations that are taking these solutions, chance दे रहे हैं. Requirements हम अगर अपने लोगों को अपने language में भी बता सकते हैं सही से. हम देखते हैं एक जो चक्कर होता है ना, इस आप जाएं किसी भी वेंडर के पास, इंटरनेशनल वेंडर, वो आपको सीधा कनेक्ट करेगा. अच्छा, सिंगापुर से मैं कनेक्ट करके एक्सपर्ट बुलाता हूँ, मैं दुबई से बुलाता हूँ. यहाँ पाकिस्तान में उनके सिर्फ सेल्स वाले बैठे, टेक्निकल लोग नहीं बैठे. So they are not able to support, they're not able to guide. So we should focus on that. We should give, Pakistan first wala koi initiative हमें लाना पड़ेगा. Like Pasha and all are now talking about tech destination Pakistan. So I think organizations need to, banks, I think starting with banks, because banks में सबसे ज़्यादा power है to purchase, to invest, to support such things. But Javed bhai यहाँ पर है, how many banks are actually supporting startups? How many banks are giving opportunities to local solutions?
देखिए हसन साहब, आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं. मैं आपको एक बात बताऊं, रियलिटी ऑफ लाइफ इज के स्टेक ऑफ द बैंक्स इज वेरी हाई.
जी जी,
है ना. एक वक्त था
बिल्कुल.
जिसको हम कहते थे कि आईबीएम, यू कैन नॉट गो रॉन्ग इफ यू बाय द आईबीएम मशीन. याद होगा आपको, बचपन की बात है जब हम इंडस्ट्री में आए थे इन 90s.
बिल्कुल.
आईबीएम के साथ जो डील की है उसमें आप गलत नहीं हो सकते. व्हाई? बिकॉज दे हैव क्रिएटेड देयर रेपो. अब
हाँ,
पाकिस्तान में कुछ कंपनीज हैं जिन्होंने अपनी रेपो बना ली है,
सही.
लेकिन प्रॉब्लम ये है कि प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट के मामले में ना वी लैक. आपको पता है
हाँ,
इस वक्त इंडिया में सीआरएम, कोई इंडिया के बाहर का सीआरएम नहीं चलता. कैन यू बिलीव इट? हम खरीदते हैं पीपल सॉफ्ट, हम खरीदते हैं ऑरेकल, हम खरीदते हैं जी ये, हम उसके पीछे पड़ते हैं, हम ये कहते हैं कि जी ये बहुत ही अच्छा है. क्यों? कि डिसीजन मेकिंग के वक्त मुझे ये पता है कि व्हेन दिस सिस्टम वर्क और नॉट. क्योंकि सिस्टम का काम करना जरूरी नहीं होता कि सिस्टम सही नहीं है. सिस्टम का इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, सिस्टम को कॉन्फ़िगर करना और सिस्टम की ओनरशिप लेना इज द की थिंग. पाकिस्तान की इंडस्ट्री में एक बहुत बड़ा गैप रहा है कि जो सिस्टम साइन करता है वो उस वक्त तक रिजाइन कर चुका होता है जब वो सिस्टम इंप्लीमेंट हो रहा होता है. ये आप जरा हिस्ट्री उठा के देखें तो मिलेगा.
Very true.
And I
Very
keep to
true.
defy this thing. And whenever I was there, I've got the opportunities. I never left till the time I delivered and hand over the systems. This is the way. तो systems को जब तक ownership के साथ आप deliver नहीं करते, उस वक्त तक वो नहीं आती है. Plus जो हमारी companies हैं, उनका भी focus वो level नहीं है जो होना चाहिए. मेरी दोनों तरफ से वो है. Again वही बात है, it's a chicken and egg situation. Supply demand, pipeline management, कमिटमेंट. इंडस्ट्री जब बैठेगी तो प्लेज करके अगर हम पार्क बना सकते हैं दो बैंकों के साथ मिलके, हम म्यूजियम खड़ा कर सकते हैं, तो मैं कहता हूं साइबर सिक्योरिटी के लिए क्यों नहीं कर सकते आप?
बिल्कुल
कर सकते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
अगेन बात वही है.
बिल्कुल सर, हमें जो है वो अंदर से हमारी विलिंगनेस जरूरी है.
इंट्रोस्पेक्शन, हमें अपने आप को भी देखना है ना कि हम कितने काबिल है हमारे लोग.
Very true, very true. So I would like to go for the takeaways of today's session. जो चीज़ें मैंने नोट की during the session वो with my little knowledge. Detect and neutralize threats in real time using anomaly detection and predictive algorithms. We should improve incident response and reduce downtime after cyber attacks. The other one is we need strong regulations and skilled professionals. AI-powered system might remain underutilized if we do not have capacity of the people who are actually using it. इसके अलावा making the best use of machine learning is what we want because the machine learning is there, tools are there. Again, you know, capacity building is the core area that we need to look into. Proper use of national AI policy that takes care of national artificial intelligence is something that we need to work upon, which is mainly talking about the implementation of the policies that are already drawn. We need to have localized data, obviously, to enhance the experience, and we have to work on the threat intelligence, and continuous effort is required to educate and implement the same. Hackathons should be improved. And what else? We have to be responsible nation. And for that, we need to have a lot of collaborations, and collaborations. ये मेरी takeaway है from today's session, and I hope everybody whoever has joined today have learned a lot from today's session. If you have any questions, you can write down to us, and we can ask our distinguished speakers to respond to that, and we are going to come back to you. And if there's any query as to you know, any other WebCon you'd like to have connecting to this AI machine learning, we are there to support you. Thank you so very much once again, Javed Sahab, Hussein Sahab, and Shaukat Sahab for being there as speakers for us. And we have thoroughly enjoyed. Actually, I have learned a lot from all of you. Thank you so very much once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Nawal.
Thank you all of you. And also please turn on your cameras for group picture as we are going to put it on social media platforms.